all of us, good to be in the house of the Lord.
Amen.
A couple of words is my testimony in the past. I've been married for 21 years this year. For the first 12 years, we didn't have any children. And the guy sitting there is a gift from God given after 12 years. In the past 5.5 years, sequentially every year, first, my mother was diagnosed with lung cancer. She had the surgery, cut off 1/3 of one of the lobes of the lungs, went through chemo, and now she's doing good. The following year, my wife was diagnosed with small intestines cancer. They took off about 3 feet of her small intestines, and then after that she went for on chemo for about six months, and she's okay. The following year, my dad was diagnosed with this is sequentially, remember. The following year, my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer. He also was healed at that time. He went through all the treatments. The year after that, my wife was diagnosed again with colon cancer. They took off about 2 feet of the colon. She went through all the treatments, and now she's okay. After the treatment, the doctors called and said that everything looks good right now. But she is diagnosed with a condition called Lynch syndrome, which is a hereditary condition. And for now, we take care of it. We have to do some things to proactively take care of her. So she is in a group of people that a minority group, very small group of people has a rare syndrome. And that condition, the next in a woman is going to be the uterus and the ovaries. So we have to proactively, surgically remove all that so it won't go there. So we trusted God and we went ahead and did that. For now she's okay. Hopefully God is, has protected her thus far. And to put icing on the cake, they said, you have, at that time my son was 7 years old, 7.5 years old. He called and said, you have a son who is 7.5 years old. From the age of 19, we have to proactively start checking him. Because it's a hereditary condition, there is a chance that he may get it. The icing on the cake is great, right? Left that, the following year my dad was diagnosed with a condition in the lungs called fibrosis of the lungs, and he went home to be with the Lord last year. God is good.
Amen.
I want to just tell you something. The first time my wife was diagnosed with cancer, I was driving my car to the parking lot, and as I parked the car to the parking lot at my work, my wife calls me up and she is breaking down on the phone. I knew there was something wrong here. So she was sobbing and sobbing on the phone, and I knew what it was. I was, ready for the news. She broke in tears. She's telling me, hey, the doctor has diagnosed me with this. So I could not break down with her. I could not tell her, to cry with her or anything like that. I just said, honey, we'll get through it. Don't worry, we'll get. For almost about 10 minutes, she was crying on the phone. And then we hung up the phone. And then after that, I just closed the windows of my car and I started crying to the top of my lungs in the car. Nobody's hearing me. Okay, this I tell you, as God, as it's the music sounded today, it's even louder than that. I was so tired in about 5, maybe 10 minutes that I dozed off. And little did I know that God was the one who put that sleep into my heart. For after I got into that doze off, I could hear a choir of 10,000, at least 10,000 member choir singing a couple of songs that I learned when I was about 3-4 years old. And the words of the song goes this way: He's still working on me. Amen. To make me what I ought to be. Amen. It took him just a week to make the moon and the stars, Amen. The sun, the earth, Jupiter and Mars. How loving and patient he must be. He's still working on me. Amen. Hallelujah. And right after that, it went to the song which I also learned when I was young. It said, so amid the conflict, whether great or small, do not be discouraged. God is over all. Count your many blessings. Angels will attend. Help and comfort bring you to your journey's end. Amen. Count your blessings. Name them one by one. Amen. Both choruses when I learned when I was young. And this two choruses, these two songs, this choir is singing back and forth, back and forth. And a little later, I went to sleep. Woke up. That weekend, that Sunday, Johnson and Shiny from Houston was supposed to lead praise and worship in our church, and I used to assist him. And he happened to go for dialysis, and he could not come and lead praise and worship. So he called me and said, "Can you please do it?" And I'm kind of in a stuck-up position here. I can't do it too. So what I did was, I just remembered two songs that I was ministered to. Okay, I called the young people in the church and I asked them, "Hey, can we do this?" Every single young kid who was playing the instruments for me said, looking at me, "Are you crazy? I want to do the same thing what I heard in the car, and it does not go back and forth." They don't know how to figure it out. Okay? Singing it continuously. I wanted to do that, it is not working. So they said, "Why don't we stop it? We'll sing the two, stop the song, and then we'll start the next one." And that's what we did. Hallelujah. God ministered in that Sunday in the most awesome way. Amen. I broke the news to the church for the first time at that time. And after that, after I led praise and worship, every single person in the church, my wife is sitting in the audience, I'm standing and leading praise and worship that day. Every single one in the church came to both of us and said, "We don't know how you're doing this. How could you handle this?" Guys, I'm telling you, there is a strength in God that you find when you need it most, which you will not know. But in order to be prepared for that, you have to be in the Word. Amen. You have to be in the Word. You and I, could lead praise and worship the most awesome way. But if you and I don't know what this is, Hallelujah. Amen. If you and I don't know what is in this, what are you going to do when the time of crisis comes? Amen. That brings me to what I want to share with you this morning. Let's turn to Luke's Gospel, chapter 24. The study of the Word has been, for the past 5-6 years, has been so awesome to me. Okay? come across things that I've never come before. Okay? Everybody knows a very familiar passage. Very familiar passage. You know what it says? What's the passage about? Huh?
Resurrection.
It's a resurrection. Resurrection. But we are going to start from verse 13. I want somebody to read it loud and slow. And I will tell you to stop in between. And we're going to do kind of expository study of the word. Okay? Somebody start with verse 13.
And behold, two of them went that.
Now behold, two of them. There is no idea who it is. If we did not have the verses below that, below verse 13, we would be ignorant of who they are. To understand that, this is related in the verse 9. Can somebody read that?
And returned from the sepulchre.
The two ladies returned from the sepulchre.
And told all these things unto the 11.
Unto the 11.
And to all the rest.
And to all the rest. Who is this two of them? Who are these two of them? Is it the 11? Because we know that the author is differentiating the 11 and the rest. And he's not giving the two of them name. It is the people, two of them who were in the two of them. Let's continue.
It was Mary Magdalene and Joanna.
No. Verse 13. Continue verse 13.
And behold, two of them went that same day to a village called Emmaus, which was from Jerusalem about 80 furlongs.
Okay, in today's English, today's translation, it says, now behold, two of them were traveling the same day to the village called Emmaus, which was 7 miles from Jerusalem. We have to keep that in our mind. It's 7 miles. They are walking from where to where? From Jerusalem to Emmaus. Okay, continue.
And they talked together.
Okay.
Of all these.
These two are talking together, going back to Emmaus. Okay.
Of all these things.
Of all these things. What translation is that?
KJV.
New King. Is it New King James Version?
No, KJV.
That sounds like KJV. I want somebody with the New King James Version or NIV to read it, please. From 14.
They were talking with each other.
Nothing against you reading it because I am following the New King James Version, so I like to stay in that, okay?
They were talking with each other about everything that had happened.
Okay, what is everything that happened?
Crucifixion.
What is everything that happened?
Crucifixion, resurrection.
Everything that happened, why were they in Jerusalem? What week is going on there? The Passion Week. Right? They are talking about everything that happened. They're going back. Let's keep that in our mind. Keep reading.
As they talked and discussed these things.
Okay, these things, what do you think they're talking about? What is the topic of discussion? Sunday, triumphal entry. Monday, Jesus comes into Jerusalem and he kicks out people from the money changers and all those people from the temple. Tuesday, Jesus preached and talked in the temple. Wednesday, Jesus preached and talked in the temple. Thursday, what happened? He is with his disciples in the upper room. He's washing the feet. He's doing all those things. Friday, he is arrested. Saturday, he is in the tomb. Sunday, he is risen and he is alive. These two are talking all these things and going back to Emmaus. But why are they going back to Emmaus? Why can't they stay in Jerusalem? That's what we need to know. Keep reading.
As they talked and discussed these things.
As they talked and discussed these things
With each other.
Jesus
Jesus himself came up. And
walked along with him. Okay, stop right there. Do these two guys know who it is? No. When the author writes it that way, we have to understand it that way too. These are two people walking along, talking all these things, and somebody has the audacity to come and get into the conversation. Would you and I even accept that? Today, if I am talking with Pastor and walking along, and you come and say, get into the conversation, what would I say? None of your business, stay away. Right? However, he comes here, he starts talking, he asks them, what are you talking about? Continue.
But they were kept from recognizing.
They were kept from, okay, I want you to understand this. Okay? Luke has given the information. Jerusalem and Emmaus, how many miles? 7 miles. Hey guys, if you ask Achunjan and Samchan and Pastor and all, but 5 years ago, I was 90 pounds more than this. Okay? Seriously, I was 90 pounds bigger than this. It took me 3 hours in the gym and everything and eating properly and things like that to get down to what I am now. Okay? Now, if I want to walk 7 miles on a regular day, it takes me about 3 hours. Okay? Takes me about 3 hours. Go back to this. These two are going back from Jerusalem to Emmaus. It is late in the afternoon. He said that he would return to them, and he has not appeared to them, and so they are disappointed and going back. Right? On top of that, they are reasoning, arguing that will take the walk even longer. Right? On top of that, this stranger has the audacity to come and get into the conversation. Now it is argument. How many hours does it take? Several more. Right? I want you to understand how Luke is trying to put it. Keep reading.
He asked them, what are you discussing together?
Keep reading.
As they walk along.
Okay.
They stood still, their faces downcast.
Uh-huh.
One of them named...
Now we know what their heart condition, their mindset is. They are what? They are sad.
Amen.
Their face is downcast. What else? Disappointed. When I go on vacation, if I go like about a 6-hour drive, I'm excited to go for the vacation, right? I'm sure you all are. But it is very discouraging when you finish the vacation and come back. Right? It makes it, that return ride is like so tedious, so difficult. You say, oh, I just wish this was over. And if you don't have a driver, you stop at 10 different places, get what you have to get, drink, do whatever you want to do. Hopefully it's the right things that you drink. Okay? Keep reading.
They stood still with their faces downcast.
Uh-huh.
One of them named Cleopas asked him.
Now we know the name. One of their names. Cleopas.
Peter.
Keep reading.
Are you only a visitor to Jerusalem?
Are you only, what does that mean? All these things were happening here. You just arrived. Where were you all these days? Keep reading.
And do not know the things that have happened there in these days?
You get it?
What things?
What things? Think of the audacity of this guy. The nerve of this guy. Not only to interfere into the conversation, But to really rub it in, what things? Keep reading.
About Jesus of Nazareth, they replied.
The problem is now presented in its entirety before this stranger. Their concern is what? About Jesus of Nazareth. They are returning back. But why are they returning back? Keep reading.
He was a prophet, powerful in word.
Now, what about Jesus of Nazareth? Can you carefully read that, please?
He was a prophet.
What? What? He was a prophet. Up until 3 days ago, he is the prophet. Now that he has not returned on time, his history. His history. Keep reading.
Powerful in word and deed.
I want you to read the passage very carefully about the information these two people give. Okay? He was a prophet. The fact that his being a prophet is true information. Because the Old Testament says, Moses says, a prophet mightier than I am going to come to deliver you. Right?
Yes.
What else?
He was a prophet, powerful in word.
Was he powerful in word?
Yes.
What's next?
And deed before.
Was he powerful in deed?
Yes.
Yes. What else?
And all the people.
And all the people,
The chief priests
the chief priests
and our rulers.
and our rulers handed him
Over to be sentenced.
over to be sentenced. Information wise, is that true or false?
Yes.
True, right?
Correct.
What else?
Over to be sentenced to death.
Okay.
And they crucified him.
Exactly.
But we had hoped
But we had hoped
that he would
3 days ago. Look at the tense. 3 days ago, if they had explained to this person, what would they have said? You are the Messiah. Now, we hoped. What?
we had hoped that he was the one who was going to redeem Israel.
Was that information correct?
Yes.
Wasn't Messiah going to redeem Israel? Right?
Yes.
Okay. Keep reading.
And what is more,
And what is more,
it is the third day
it is the third day
since all this took
since all these took place.
In addition, some of our women amazed us.
You go to John's Gospel, you'll know who those women are. Keep reading.
They went to the
Mhm.
tomb early this morning,
Mhm.
but didn't find his body.
Early this morning, didn't find his body.
They came and told us that they had seen a vision of angels who said he was alive.
Okay.
Then some of our companions went to the tomb and found it is just as the woman had said. But him
Hold on. Okay, but him?
they did not see.
Up until this point, information-wise, they are 100% correct. If they have the correct information, why are they going back? Why are they going back? Why didn't they stay? Let's continue.
He said to them,
At this point, if it was me or today's pastors, when they hear people telling some things from the word, quoting words, we tend to say, wow, this guy knows the word. That guy knows the word. He's so powerful in word. But in between, if they sneak in something wrong, they will not catch it. Right? But this guy The stranger, remember it is a stranger. Up until this, only we know who it is. These two, to them, he is a stranger. Right?
Yes.
At this point, he should say, Moine, you are so great. You have all this information. Is that what he said? Right? In fact, what is his commendation?
How foolish you are.
You fools! You fools! What else?
And how slow of heart.
Slow of heart.
To believe.
To believe.
To believe all that the prophets.
All that the prophets. You know what's the key word in that whole sentence? Can somebody point it out? The word all. The word all. A partial understanding of the scripture made them to go back.
Amen. Amen. Yes.
Is it that Jesus did not teach them? In the 3 years that he was with them, 3.5 years he was with them, he told them, I'm going to die. But what did one of the disciples say? No, you should not die. When he is talking about the kingdom of God, the two of the disciples come and tell what? May it be when you reach there, may one of us be on your right and one of us on your left. Right?
Yes.
Where is Jesus sitting right now? Look at the audacity of one of these guys. They want to sit between God and Jesus. Right? Is it because Jesus did not teach them this 3.5 years that Messiah had to die? That they, throughout the 3.5 years, when he was trying to prepare them, they caught on to what they thought was good. Njan ninne valalla talaya. We love verses like that. But we don't want to acknowledge God in verses that goes, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil.
Amen.
Those are not verses there. For thy rod and your staff, it's painful, but it comforts me.
Amen.
Your wife has cancer. God, this is not, Satan has brought it upon me. Your son is sick. Satan has brought it upon me. No. Everything works to the good of those who trust God.
Amen. Amen. Hallelujah.
How could we even say that Satan is the one who's bringing these things? Bible has no support for something like that. We trust God in the good times and in the bad times.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Blessed be the name of the Lord. 12 years we didn't have children. 3rd year onwards we had prophets every year coming and telling us, next year at this time, next year at this time, next year at this time. After the 3rd year, after I started hearing routinely, anybody who came to me, I started saying, is he God? Is he greater God because he gives me a child? Is he? No. He is God. Just because he gave me a child, he doesn't become more elevated in his godship. Or if he gave me a child, he does not. The other way. You know what's my favorite verse in the Bible? Be still and know that you are God. Be still and know your God. Continue, please.
To believe all that the prophets have spoken. Did not the Christ
Then he's setting their theology right. Did not the Christ have to suffer first and then enter into his glory? Yes, entering into his glory was part of the plan of God. But he had to suffer first. But you guys, he's telling them, you guys did not understand. 3.5 years I came here. The plan was not instituted when I came to this earth. The plan was instituted when? 1 Peter verse 1 and 2 says, before the foundation of the world, the plan of salvation was done.
Amen.
And you think I'm going to create, as I go along, I'm going to change the plan and do another thing. If that fails, we go to another thing. No! We would do that. Please read.
Did not the Christ have to suffer these things and then enter his glory? And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explained to them what it was said in all the scriptures concerning.
Beginning with Moses, the revealed scripture at that time. He's explaining the whole thing. He's telling them, this is why you're going back, because you don't have your facts correct. Guess what? He comes. I'm not going to make you read it. Go home and read it, please. You go. Make sure you read it how it happens. He goes to reaches Emmaus. Okay? He goes into the house. It's not even his house. And when he broke the bread, they figured out, wow, we were in a situation like this. They remembered. And what was the next? Their eyes opened, and if it was today's pastor, let's have a general convention. Is that what he did?
No.
He said, he disappeared. He got his the two of them, their mindset was corrected, and he went out. He'd done his work. And now, Luke says, that very hour.
They're going back.
Imagine how fast they went.
Hallelujah.
If it took 8 hours there, they ran back 2 hours. Where are we? Why are we not sharing the word? Why are we not enthusiastic about following God? Why do we get defeated in circumstances that we think are not right? It's because we have not got our perspective correct. We are following God just for the sake of pleasing others, but not God. I hope you and I will truly follow Christ and get to know Him more and more. God bless you.